Now, it seems money can't buy you love, if you believe the old Beatles song, and it seems that it can't buy the mega-rich happiness either.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So is it really worth putting in the extra hours in order to win that next promotion to get that little bit more money? Will it really make you that little bit more happy? I have a theory on that, but so does our performance coach Andrew May joins us now. Andrew, good morning.
Let's discuss our theories.
Let's discuss.
Now,
this morning's big fight will be...
Yeah, way back in 1964, the Beatles had a global smash hit, Money Can't Buy Me Love. If we update that now, I think we'll also say Money Can't Buy Me Happiness. And if we look at US wealth, and Australia follows the US in most of these wealth indicators, the average US household is 3 times wealthier now than in 1950. I think we've got a graph showing this. Yet our happiness levels have not changed at all. So while we're becoming wealthier, our happiness levels have tracked sideways, if anything, gone down.
So when you talk about happiness and you're trying to measure happiness, what does that mean?
There's lots of different scales, but with this we're looking at satisfaction with life scale, Jeremy. So are people satisfied with their life, their relationship? So it's a holistic study, not just waking up, clicking your heels and going to Kansas.
But looking at that graph, and you see the differential there, if we put another differential in there, which is income, and then we tracked cost of living next to it, surely that gap would actually explain that gap that we see there.
In Sydney and Melbourne, with real estate prices, we now have kids staying at home until they're late 30s, early 40s. So yes, there's been an increase in cost of living, but still the researchers unequivocally say our standard of living has got better. We don't have anywhere near as much poor people as we had years and years ago, but we're not happier. Now, I know you've got some theories on this, don't you?
Well, there's that saying, isn't there, that I'd rather cry in my Mercedes than smile on a bicycle.
I like that, Jeremy.
I've never heard that before, but I think smiling on a bicycle is quite a nice thing.
Now there's a threshold, and we'll go to your theories. Let's look at balanced argument today.
Well, tell us the threshold, because, I mean, I can imagine that at a certain level of wealth, you'd be enormously happy.
Well, the cut-off is about $75,000. Princeton University.
Hang on, what?
The cut-off for above, the level that they say below you have financial stress and difficulty is about $75,000.
Are they saying that people on $75,000 and less are happy?
No, be below $75,000, it's saying you will have some financial difficulty.
I see what you mean, right. Okay.
So that seems to be the cut-off, 75 grand. Above that, the question is, does money make you any happier? Now, I know you say if we had houses and yachts and cars and all these people to help us.
I don't have houses and yachts and cars, but I can imagine the odd yacht might put a smile on my face sometimes. I do want to throw this out to our audience this morning, though, as well. I mean, and that 75,000 cut-off. So, I mean, if you actually reduced, your wage to that level and said you should be fine, I can imagine what you'd say. But use the usual contact points and talk to us about this. I know some people who are really wealthy. I have a couple of associates who I know are immensely wealthy. They are immensely happy people.
And
they seem to be living just the best life you can imagine. So, whether your theory there?
Well, look, there's a range and a distribution, isn't there, on this stuff? But when we look at the statistics around this in psychology. Super wealthy have double the depression of the average population. So we think at any one stage, the average population depression's about 20%. When we're talking the super wealthy, it's about 40%. So we've got 5 different areas, and let's look at some of your friends, whether they cover these 5 areas or not. I coach some super wealthy, and some follow this.
Do they pay really well?
Let's stick to the program, Virginia. So 5 reasons behind wealthy but sad syndrome. Number 1 is lack of experience stretching. Now, if you stay in the fancy hotels and have big cars, Mercedes and tailored clothes, and what used to be enjoyable for you when you were young, suddenly that just becomes your everyday activity. You tend to get a bit blasé about it. There's a term called...
No, there's only so many times you can stay at the Ritz, it just gets dull.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Anhedonia.
This is when they come home and say, I just want a home-cooked meal.
Yeah,
no, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, a friend of mine was consulting, and he was living in Las Vegas. He was in his 20s, earning ridiculous money, and he just wanted meatloaf. So anhedonia is a term that means lack of feeling or lack of stimulation in day-to-day activities, like a sunrise.
But that can happen to you whether you're wealthy or not wealthy. I mean, talk to the person working on the assembly line. Talk about a lack of stretching experiences. So, that they could feel that as well. But, OK, there's your 1. And what's number 2?
Now, the second one we have, 1 is the loneliest number. With a musical theme today. Do you like John Farnham, Jeremy?
Sometimes.
So
That's a good answer.
He covered a song, 1 is the loneliest number.
Yes, I remember that song.
And often the super wealthy become isolated. Now, not everyone, not everyone, but when we look at these factors, they are causative.
Partly because they're working so hard as well. That's
And
a
I
big
guess
factor,
because
isn't it?
it's hard to get real friends.
Lack of real relationships.
Perfectionism will make you wealthy but sad. Lack of pleasure, meaning and purpose. Constant competition can be wearying.
Let's talk about lack of pleasure, meaning and
Yeah,
purpose,
that's an
because
interesting one.
I don't think it's either or, it's and. So it's not either I'm going to be rich or
Yeah.
I'm going to be happy. You can have both. So for me, there's a difference between the goods life, pleasure, meaning, and so the goods life, power, success and money.
Goods,
and
yes.
the good life,
Right.
pleasure, meaning and purpose. So I would say your friends who've got bucket loads of the hard stuff have a really nice balance between money and purpose. And when we look at a lot of the super wealthy, like Andrew Forrest, Twiggy Forrest, we're looking at Bill Gates, we're looking at Warren Buffett, giving a lot of their money away. What the research shows is when you are connected to a cause and you have community in your life, it helps with that connection.
Yeah, and the people that I've known over the years certainly have that. But is all of this, I guess we're having this discussion because of, say, high-profile cases like James Packer, who has left the Crown Board and who has said that after many, many years of struggling with depression, that he's really overwhelmed by it right now and has gone to seek treatment. Is it a little bit of that we're talking about today?
and we can have a bit of fun about this, but there is a real underscore on this for people, whether you have money or not. With depression, it is
Sure.
increasing. So if anyone's watching this, whether you're rich or not, and you are having those underlying feelings of sadness and loneliness, get support. But yes, when you see someone like James Packer come out, and there'll be people watching this morning, Virginia, going, oh, boo-hoo, you've got billions of dollars.
Yes, poor little rich guys.
What was I'd rather cry in my Mercedes than
And smile on a bicycle.
smile on a bicycle. Look, some of the people that I've coached that are super wealthy and unhappy, they just want some purpose and meaning. So it's not either or, it's and. How do you have both?
Tell them to go and buy some purpose and meaning. They've got a fair bit of money there
I
to
think
do
we
it
might
with.
put them on the couch with you. That gives you a bit of meaning and keeps
right.
you on your
Yes,
toes and
smack 'em
purpose,
around
doesn't
a
it?
bit.
Mindfulness with Virginia
That's
at 6
right,
a.m.
yeah, that's right.
But the key
Get on
thing,
with it.
yeah, two key things: have connection, have friends that you can share the money with,
Sure.
and have meaning. And the other thing is have a purpose. So what do you wake up for every morning? You can't just count your cold
No, that's
hard
right.
stuff.
Yes, as Lewis Carroll said, you should go everywhere with a porpoise. Hey, really nice to see you, Andrew. Thanks so much.
Purpose or purpose?
That's the game.